took the win. It was a wonderful drive from Sasha Norden, and it's made a lot of people sit up and take notice. The outgoing Pro-Am champion, who's very much got his sights set on greater things, and get the feeling he might well be challenging for the overall championship if he returns to Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux next year, which we sincerely hope he will. So, as you can see, at the moment, Kalle Rovanperä is the quickest driver. He's actually a 1:30.926. So that is a very quick time, not quite up to his fastest time yesterday, but he's still getting the tyres into the operating window, getting the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. There is Colin Berninghausen, a driver who has been sharing his driving duties with Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux and also Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, and there in the unfamiliar livery he's the main challenger to Dirk Schutten's championship, Paul Meyer. He has 138 points. He's got a 21.5 point deficit to Dirk Schutten, so he's got quite a steep mountain to climb, but if anybody can do it, Paul Meyer can do it. So the new livery for the car for this, the last weekend of the season, and it is a new car. The gold and white. He currently jumps to the top of the timing sheets, but already that is eclipsed because it's a 1:30.926 for Kalle Rovanperä. You can see from the graphic on your screen now, some of the times are disappearing a little bit because we do have issues with track limits, and Kalle Rovanperä has just had a lap time disallowed for exceeding track limits on turn 6. That's heading out towards the Villeneuve chicane. And there is a massive lockup. That is for one of the guesting drivers here this weekend, Steve Murrens for MM Racing. Great to have the Belgian driver here in the rookie category. I've been watching a lot of the drivers as they've attacked the chicanes in free practice. Certainly the Kleiner chicane, which is turn 5. So many drivers locking up, going across the gravel trap. It is a really tricky circuit, and we've got a red flag that has just appeared out on track. So red flags are out. I'm not entirely sure why at the moment. I'm just looking to see whether there has been an issue. So the red flags are out, and the session has been brought to a stop. I've had no news as to why that might be. So the cars will return back to the pit lane. So why have we got a red flag? Just looking to see who might be stationary out on track. Or now I'm looking, and I think it might be car 10. So it looks like Niels Langeveld out on turn 4 at the moment. So it might be that Niels Langeveld has had an issue. That's the only person I can see at the moment who might be causing the red flag. I'm just checking timing to see whether we can get any news on that. But clearly there has been an issue. So the session has been brought to red flag conditions. And okay, so got news that the session will be resumed very shortly. So, well, there is Niels Langeveld in the pit. So clearly not any issues in terms of getting back to the pits, if indeed it is him at all. I'm just looking to see if there's anybody else out on track. I'm still waiting for Nick Ho. Oh, there's a very athletic person. That's a good way of warming up in the morning, isn't it? I was trying to do that last night as the sun was setting. Now that might be why. That looks like, well, that's somebody's wing mirror, I think. Well, what remains of it anyway. So, yes. Anyone want a broken mirror? It's about 7 years bad luck in her hand there. So, I think, pleased to say, the red flag may well be just for debris on the circuit. But this does change the dynamic of the qualifying session because, of course, the drivers have just spent the last 10, 12, 15 minutes getting the tyres into the optimum window, getting ready for the big push, and now they're sat in the pits and the tyres are cooling down. Tyre blankets absolutely not allowed in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. So, well done that lady. You could take that home and put it on the mantelpiece. A souvenir of a wonderful weekend already at Zolder for Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. to summarise, right, yes, okay, thank you very much to my producer next to me. We've just got confirmation, 11:31 local time, so that's in about 10 seconds. This session is going to be getting back underway. So it is Kalle Rovanperä who is the quickest at the moment, a 1:30.926. To remind you, he was the quickest yesterday, a 1:30.572. That was yesterday afternoon in significantly warmer conditions, but as the track does start to heat up and the sun is trying to poke through the clouds, and as the rubber gets laid down on the circuit, we expect the times to come tumbling. But Kalle Rovanperä is quickest at the moment. Second in the championship, Paul Meyer is currently second, and championship leader Dirk Schouten is third. So Dirk Schouten with a 1:31.382. Paul Meyer in second, a 1:31.120. So about 4.5 tenths back Dirk Schouten is from Kalle Rovanperä. Paul Meyer is 0.194 back, so just under 2 tenths below Kalle Rovanperä's time. But the session is young. Second best times at the moment. Oh, there's a replay of Jani Kakea having a bit of a lock-up and taking a bit of a shortcut. Yes, second best times, to remind you, do count as well. I'm just looking down at the timings, and I believe that Kalle Rovanperä has the quickest of the second best times as well, but we've still got plenty of time to go. Right, we are now back into green flag conditions, so all that hard work done, getting the tyres into the window, now they've got to do it again because they will have cooled down whilst they were static in the pits. Here comes Paul Meyer, second in the championship. Our eyes are going to be very much on Paul Meyer and Dirk Schouten. There's Alex Ryman just pulling out in front of Paul Meyer as well. Those are the two drivers who are primarily fighting for this championship. Benjamin Pack also in third place, but he really is relying on both Meyer and Schouten having a bit of a mare. You just saw Benjamin Pack there in the number 92 car just flashing through your picture. But he is very much dependent on the drivers around him having a bad time for him to jump up through the order. It's not in his own hands. By my calculations, if Dirk Schouten wins the race this afternoon, he will be champion, whatever happens to the drivers around him. If Dirk Schouten finishes second this afternoon, Paul Meyer must win the race. That's according to my very dodgy maths, and I have to tell you it is dodgy. If Dirk Schouten finishes third this afternoon, Paul Meyer must finish fourth or higher to take the championship to the next race. So it is possible that Dirk Schouten could clinch the championship this afternoon, but there is an awful long way to go, a lot of racing. We only need to have one DNF for one of the drivers in the top three, and it could all change. So this qualifying session, very, very important here. Overtaking opportunities. Well, there aren't that many places to overtake. I think probably into Kleiner chicane, which is turn 5, is one of the good opportunities. Into turn 1, it's a very heavy braking, in third gear corner, turn 1, taking about 120 kilometers an hour. It's a sharp 90-degree left-hander, but coming off the pit straight, that is a good overtaking opportunity as well. But it's a tricky circuit, and overtaking opportunities don't come very regularly here. So I think qualifying is pretty critical here, getting a good grid position. And at the moment, Benjamin Pack is down in 12th place, and he'll be wanting to do something about that. He's got about 16.5 minutes in which to do it. So Kalle Rovanperä is the one they're all aiming at the moment. Rovanperä, who's come into Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux, and there is Benjamin Pack locking up, and those tyres are going to have a big flat spot on them, and that is a replay of him turning his tyres into something that will resemble a 50-pence piece and will give him all sorts of vibrations. There is Rovanperä, the driver who has a massive following, a big fan club, and it's been so good to have him here. He has absolutely loved his time in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux. He's committed himself to the World Rally Championship again next year, but has not given up on the idea of continuing in GT racing, and he has really enjoyed it this year, and we certainly hope that he will be back. Right, looking at the other categories, our quickest rookie at the moment is Nick Ho. He is in 4th place. He's a 1:31.679. Our quickest Pro-Am driver is Jules Grau. He's in 11th place overall, a 1:32.994. The leader in the Pro-Am Championship, Yannick Caquet, down in 15th place at the moment. To remind you, there are points awarded on this qualifying session. And I'm just sorry, looking at the clock at the top of your screen, that doesn't actually tie in with what we've got left. The time appears to be increasing according to the clock on the screen. It is less than 17 minutes according to the timing screen that I have in front of me. But we still have about 15, just over 15 minutes left of this session, just to conclude to that one. Yes, so the rookies quickest now, Domas Radonis, so he's just jumped up into P4. So with this session, with, according to my screen, 16.25 minutes remaining, Kalle Rovanperä is the quickest. The driver's now building the heat in the tyres once again. There is Kalle Rovanperä, car number 69, the driver from Finland, who has driven in 4, or will have driven in 4 of the 6 rounds. That's 8 of the 12 races in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux this year. He is leading the way. He is the one they're all going to want to be beating. A 1:30.926 now. Somebody who's just gone purple in Sector 1, that means quickest of anybody, is Domas Radonis in car number 5. So Domas Radonis, his best result of the year so far was a 5th place. That was at Assen. He's still looking to take his first win in the rookie category, but he's just gone purple in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So he is one of the first drivers to pull the pin and start to turn the heat up and go for a push lap. He's done a 32.966 in Sector 2, which is significantly quicker. Having said that, he now jumps to the top of the screen. So it's Domas Radonis in the rookie category, car number 5 for Team GP Elite, who jumps to the top of the timing screens. We have now 15 minutes remaining of this session, this qualifying session, so still plenty of time. Track fairly busy at the moment. Every car that I can see is out on track at the moment. So drivers putting the heat, building the heat in the tyres and in the brakes. And it's Domas Radonis, a 1:30.611. So getting closer to that 1:30.572 that we had in free practice yesterday. Not getting anywhere near to Glenn Van Parijs's quickest lap of last year, the 1:29.469. But Domas Radonis, the first to really show his colours at the top of the timing screens at the moment. In the Pro-Ams, Jules Grau still the quickest with a 1:32.994. So who else is on track? Nobody at the moment setting any purple sectors apart from Domas Radonis. So the track divided into 3 sectors, and sectors 1 and 2, the quickest driver in that was Domas Radonis, and he also set a personal best in Sector 3 on his previous lap as well. I'm also seeing a lot of lap times being disallowed, and that is at turn 6 primarily. That is at the part of the track that is called the Kleine Chicane. It's a chicane that is attacked by the drivers. I stood there yesterday, watched drivers locking up, going through the gravel trap and bumping across the curbs. It is a really tricky chicane. It's just at the bottom of the section of the track that is called Sacrament Hill, which is well, it's no Eau Rouge, but it's certainly a fairly steep climb, and the drivers, well, they put the chicane in to stop the cars from getting airborne, so it slows the cars down just prior to Sacrament Hill. They head up that absolutely flat out at about 200 kilometers an hour over the blind crest, and then it's downhill again towards another chicane, which is the Villeneuve chicane, of course named after the legendary Gilles Villeneuve. That's a second gear chicane. Up over Sacrament Hill, and just prior to that, that is where the drivers seem to be exceeding track limits, either on the entry or to the exit of that. And we've seen a number of lap times disallowed as a result of that. So drivers need to keep it within the limits of the circuit. And I'm just looking down at the race control messages, and we have so many lap times that have been disallowed, primarily at the Kleiner chicane. My screen is not actually big enough to list them all, so a lot of drivers really struggling with that chicane, getting it right, and a quick time is dependent on getting through these chicanes, and it's mastering the chicanes that is the real trick to a fast lap time here. It is a very technical circuit. It requires a lot of intelligent driving. It's not just flat out all the way. It's about getting the curbs right, getting the chicanes right, and then you've got a few straights as well. But it is a circuit that is quite tricky to get right and to keep it within track limits. You can see Domas Radonas in the pits at the moment. He's gone back in and he's back out again now, just rejoining, and he will come back out on track. He is the fastest time at the moment of a 1:30.611. He is the quickest of the rookies as well. Second, Kalle Rovanperä, still with that 1:30.926, which was set quite a long time ago, back on lap 6. Well, he's done 13 laps in total, so he's yet to get back up with that time. There's nobody who's setting the timing screen alight at the moment, but as already mentioned, this is a session where I think we're going to see the quickest times right at the end of the session. So we're looking at Jules Grau out on track at the moment. Car 77, he is in 14th place. He is the quickest of the Pro-Am drivers, a 1:32.994. Our quickest of the non-rookie and non-Pro-Am drivers is still Kalle Rovanperä, a 1:30.926. As we see the cars once again weaving to try and build heat into the tyres and get the tyres back into the window. The clock that you can see on your screen, the countdown clock, is not representative of the time remaining. We are at about 9 minutes and 50 seconds remaining of this session. Okay, message has come up that car 12, Mike Rosenberg, will be docked a position on the grid for crossing the white line on the exit of the pit. So he will be dropped a position in race 1. Mike Rosenberg for Team GP Elite is going to have a position drop as a result of crossing the white line on pit exit. So at the moment, I was expecting to see some quicker times, but at the moment it's taken drivers a little while to get their tyres back into the window after that red flag that we had earlier on. The red flag, which was for debris out on the track. The session was brought to a stop, the cars were brought back to the grid. Let's have a look and see what some of the other drivers are doing. Sasha Norden is up into P3 at the moment, a 1:31.116. So Sasha Norden, who did such a sterling job in such challenging conditions at the Red Bull Ring last time out. He got an 8th in the first race, and he took his first ever win in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux in the second race. The star, very much, of Red Bull Ring was also Draker Janssen. He was so rapid in the number 17 car, and he finished in 3rd place, having started in P8, and he got up to 3rd place in just 7 minutes of the race. It was very, very impressive. He had a bit of a moment in race 2 and was able to come back from that, and he finished in 4th place in race 2 as well. So Draker Janssen in car number 17 that you see on screen there, one of the real absolute up-and-coming superstars. He's come straight from karting to car racing. His first full season in car racing, we saw him in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe over the winter, and he was very impressive there. He didn't race at Spa-Francorchamps at the season opener. He had a Eau Rouge-shaped bite on his backside as a result of an incident in free practice, and it meant he wasn't able to take part in the race, but he has since then recovered very much So far, the Red Bull Ring by far his best performance of the season. He got the 3rd and the 4th place. Would dearly love to match or beat that here at Zolder this weekend. So 7.25 minutes remaining of this session. This is Draker Janssen we're looking at the moment. So Draker Janssen currently in P8, looking to improve on that. He's done a personal best in Sector 1. Now into Sector 2, a personal best in Sector 2, a 33.316 in Sector 2. You're looking at car number 4, Urine to back for JW Race Service, out on track at the moment. He is in P14. 131.997 at the moment. So there is the number 4. You're into back. The rest of the cars, we're just looking down at the corner. There's Nick Ho, car 98 as well. Nick Ho, who crosses the line. Let's just see where he's at. He's in P9. So Nick Ho with a 131.679. So car 98. Another of the young drivers coming through the ranks. He started in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Benelux in the GT4, combining his racing with studying business administration as well, something very, very different. It's still Domas Radonis who's leading at the moment, the 130.611, but now we're getting in towards the last 5 minutes. Look at Colin Berninghausen just launching the car across the curbs. Colin Berninghausen in car 55, currently in P10, a 131.719. That's Nick Ho, who's into the barriers. So we just spoke about Nick Ho. He was on a push lap. Looks like he's into the gravel trap. That is, I'm just looking to see where that is out on track at turn 5 at the Kleiner chicane. So Nick Ho, now this is almost certainly going to bring out a red flag. The car is pointing in the wrong direction. This is going to be very significant. The red flag is out. So the session is brought to a stop. So that is Nick Ho, who's had a big moment. The car's in the wall. He's pointing in the wrong direction. It looks like he is all okay. I can see him there. The car has snapped around at the Kleiner chicane. Car facing oncoming traffic. There was no way the session could continue. Now this is going to put a completely different complexion onto this qualifying session, because we had drivers in these fairly chilly conditions here at Zolder who've been working to build the heat into the tyres, waiting for the push lap. Now they're going to come back to the pits. The tyres are going to cool down, and with just over 5 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in this session, it is going to be a scramble to get the heat back into the tyres and to get back up to speed. When we do get back under green flag conditions, this is going to be a fairly fraught session, I should think. Drivers have had the time to just build up gently, get into the window, but now with the red flag out, all of that comes to a stop. Domas Radonis would be quite happy if this was the way it finished, because he currently is the fastest, a 130.611. You can see the Nick Ho car being dragged from the gravel. Now the front wheel on that car is not turning, as you can see, so I think, oh, it is now. I just wondered whether there'd been some issue with obstruction on that wheel, but I think that that's all good, but he's clearly not going to take any more part in this session. He's in 9th, a 131.679. But it's Domas Radonis who's quickest. He's the quickest rookie. Second, Kalle Rovanperä, who is just 6 thousandths of a second behind him now with a 130.617. Third, Sasha Norden, a 130.859. Then it's Paul Meyer in P4, a 131.120. And then Dirk Schuten in P5, a 131.382. Sam Yongyan is 6th, a 131.472, ahead of Benjamin Pack in 7th place. So the 1, 2, 3 in the championship. Second in the championship, Paul Meyer is 4th. Dirk Schuten, who leads the championship, is 5th. And third in the championship, Benjamin Pack is in 7th. So the red flag is out. The track will be swept. This is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a real touch and go 5 minutes of the session remaining, because the cars will need to get out on track. They'll need to build the temperature, and they'll need to push quite hard and quite quickly to try and get themselves up to the top of the timing screens. To remind you, this is a circuit where overtaking is not always easy, so track conditions, track position is everything. Grid qualifying is very, very important. I'd say keep an eye on Sasha Norden when we get going. He is in P3 at the moment. The driver who has looked really quick in all the free practice sessions that we've had here, and will no doubt be looking to challenge Kalle Rovanperä, who is just ahead of him in the Pro-Ams. The quickest so far is Ziad Geris, so he is in 16th overall, and he is the quickest of the Pro-Ams. Second in the Pro-Ams, Jules Grau, he is 17th overall. Third in the Pro-Ams, Yanni Kakea, the championship leader in the Pro-Am category. He is 18th overall, so we have first, second, third, and fourth, because Mike Rosenberg is, as well is there. The four of them all together, if the qualifying were to finish now, they would be lining up 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, with Ziad Geris, the leading Pro-Am driver. So the clock is ticking once again. We have 3 minutes remaining of this session. This is going to be really, really interesting. So when the clock strikes 0, any laps that the drivers are on will count, but once the clock strikes 0, if they cross the start-finish line, the lap will not count. So 2 3/4 minutes remaining. This is really critical. All cars will be out on track, with the exception of Nick Ho, who we've lost as a result of that red flag. 2.5 minutes to get the heat into the tyres. Who can get close to Domas Radonis's 1:30.611? So he will be potentially looking at this, and a potential pole position, 1:30.611, but Kalle Rovanperä just 0.6 behind. But can he get the heat into the tyres? Can he get out there? And can he put in a lap that is quicker than the 1:30.611? I should think that Dirk Schouten would be reasonably happy with a P5. There is Nick Ho. Now, I don't believe that he is able to take part in the qualifying session because he had help getting out of the gravel, but that might not be the case, so he's out on track at the moment. So clearly, he still fancies his chances of making a place up on the grid. There is Domas Radonis at the moment, our provisional pole sitter, a 1:30.611. So Domas Radonis out on track, looking to extend what is a pole position at the moment. Kalle Rovanperä on his outlap. There is Alex Ryman in the pits. So Alex Ryman clearly not taking part in the remainder of this session. We've also got Draker Janssen in the pits, and Sasha Norden also staying in the pits. So they clearly feel as though they have extracted as much as they can out of this session. But there is Domas Radonis in car number 5. He's heading out towards Sacrament Hill at the moment. It is a part of the circuit that's taken flat out at 200 kilometers an hour, then in towards the Villeneuve chicane, second gear corner, around to turn 7, which is a very technical corner, taken in second and up to 4th gear at about 150 kilometers an hour, and then out towards another slight blind crest, out towards turn 8 they will come. Less than 40 seconds remaining of this session. There is nobody who is improving at the moment. Sasha Norden still in the pits in P3, so his session is done. There is Dirk Schouten at the moment, car 34. So he in that 5th place, not improving on his previous lap time. So it's still the 1:31.382, which is his quickest. Nobody going quicker at the moment. 10 seconds remaining of this session. And it's still looking like Domas Radonis, who's holding on to that pole position as nobody improves after that red flag at the end of this session. There is Yanni Kakea. He is looking to improve. So first across the line, Ziad Gueris. He's currently the quickest of the Pro-Am drivers. He's in 16th place overall. He has now finished his qualifying session. Kalle Rovanperä crosses the line. He's not able to improve, so 1:30.617 is his best. There is nobody who's improving at the moment. You can see that Dirk Schuiten is pushing as hard as he can to try and improve on his P5 at 1:31.382. But at the moment, he is not setting any sectors. Having said that, it was a personal best in Sector 2. Sector 1. Sector 2 wasn't a personal best. We're looking at a replay of a lock-up for Sam Yongyan, another driver going across the gravel track. Some of these chicanes so difficult to master. There is a lock-up for the guesting Steve Murrens for MM Racing. He is making his debut in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux this year. But as the cars cross the line, at the moment, nobody getting close to the 1:30.611 set by Domas Radonis. Kalle Rovanperä, he is done. Sasha Norden is done. Across the line, Domas Radonis has not improved either. Dirk Schuiten crosses the line. He hasn't improved on P5, so nobody has moved after this restart. We had the red flag that came out. It's going to be Domas Radonis who starts on pole position for the race this afternoon. It'll be Kalle Rovanperä alongside Paul Meyer. Well, he's in the position that he wanted to be. That is ahead of Dirk Schuiten. Dirk Schuiten is in P5, Paul Meyer in third. Between them is Sasha Norden. And Sasha Norden, who's not in the championship hunt, will be pushing hard to try and go for broke there, because he will want to just get on the podium. That's all he's interested in. He's not looking for the points haul. The quickest of the Pro-Am drivers is still Yanni Kakea ahead of Ziad Gueris and Jules Grau. And the quickest of the rookies, well, Domas Radonis is the quickest rookie and the quickest overall. Second of the rookies is Sam Yongyan. He is 8th. And just behind him is the rookie leader, Koba Powles. He is 9th. So the fight for the rookie title, it's going to be very, very close, first and second in the rookie championship, starting next to each other on the grid in 8th and 9th place. But the headline, Domas Radonis is the quickest driver. He has a 1:30.611, which scores him the pole position for this afternoon's race. I'm just looking to see who's the second quickest, and the second quickest laps. Paul Meyer is the best I can see. No, there's actually Sasha Norden's got a 1:30. I'm just looking down at the second quickest laps. Far as I can tell, for race 2, which will be tomorrow, I think it's going to be Sasha Norden, who looks like he could potentially be on pole position for the second race, which takes place tomorrow. Remember, the fastest lap is for pole position today. The second fastest lap, the driver's second fastest lap, is for the grid for tomorrow's race. So it has been a very interesting and interrupted qualifying session. It is Domas Radonis who will start on pole position. Kalle Rovanperä alongside him. It will be Paul Meyer and Sasha Norden on the second row. Dirk Schuiten and Niels Langeveld on the third row. Join us at 4 o'clock local time for race 11 of this final race season of the season for Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux.